and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I post stylish, sustainable living tips here on YouTube every week. And today's video, I want to talk about what I have learned from my first year of being an at-home vegan. I have learned a lot and I have had a lot of preconceived notions and sort of like myths debunked about what eating vegan is really like. So I want to share 5 main lessons that I have learned in the past year about eating vegan at home. Let's get started. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned over this past year is that my preconceived notions about what a vegan diet tastes like, looks like, were totally wrong. Vegan diets can be so delicious and so nourishing and perfect for foodies. I can't believe how much I've enjoyed and how many just truly delicious things I have eaten in the last year that are purely plant-based. I really didn't think I was capable of maintaining this diet for a year. I'm actually really surprised that we did as well as we did. I think I've probably eaten 95% of my meals this year as vegan meals, and just a year ago I absolutely didn't think that was possible. The second lesson that I've learned from practicing a at-home vegan diet is to be consistent about it, but be patient and kind to yourself in the process. When you're consistent about eating a vegan diet at home, you will notice changes in your body, but it's important to be patient with that because every person's body is going to behave differently as you adjust to this new kind of diet and this new lifestyle, which is really what veganism sort of becomes. But understand that it might take your body longer than other people's to adjust to this diet change, and that doesn't mean it isn't worthwhile. It doesn't mean that you can't keep it up. It doesn't mean that you can't keep going. It's just about learning and taking the time that you need to get used to this change. The third lesson that I have learned is that it's really important to pay attention to the changes in your body. I have watched a lot of documentaries about how food impacts your body and how industrial farming and hormones and all of these things impact your body, but it wasn't until I actually started practicing a vegan diet at home that I truly felt those impacts for myself. It is actually significant how much what you eat impacts how you feel. And honestly, that is what keeps me going for eating a vegan diet at home now, because my body just feels so much better when I only eat plants. It's unbelievable. The biggest difference that I notice in terms of the kind of physical impact of practicing a vegan diet is the level of bloating that I experience. I had no idea how bloated I was all the time when I was eating animal products. And now that I don't, I absolutely notice a difference. My clothes fit better, my body looks healthier, it looks like just slimmer and leaner and more agile, I would say. And now when I do eat animal products on the rare occasion, it is so noticeable. My body just turns into a balloon. I look at myself in the mirror after eating animal products now and I'm like, oh my God. I can't believe that happened from one meal. Another important lesson that I've learned in this process of being an at-home vegan is how to find the right kind of recipes that make you excited to cook vegan food. Everything that I thought vegan food was, bland, boring, only chickpeas, no flavor, totally wrong. Vegan food can be absolutely as delicious and satisfying as animal-based foods. The thing is, best recipes are the recipes that are vegan, not the recipes that are trying to be vegan. So what I mean by that is I think recipes that are just naturally plant-based, where the focus is the vegetable, the focus is the plant, work the best and typically turn out the most delicious. Me and my husband have tried a couple of times, with different tofu steaks or vegan hamburger patties and swapping those out. And they're just never quite as satisfying to me because your mind has associations with meat if you've been eating meat for a long time. Your mind has association with dairy if you've been eating dairy for a long time. And so when you try and just switch out the meat or the dairy ingredient for a plant-based one, your mind knows what it's trying to be. It knows that the dish is trying to be this other dish that you like, but it's falling short because you have these ingrained associations. The meat substitutes they aren't quite as good, and you're always going to be comparing them in your mind. There's just so many good dishes out there that are plant-based on their own. Like, why bother eating these fake ones? Like, I don't know, it's just not for me. And I find it's much easier to really enjoy a vegan diet and really enjoy the dishes when you carve those new pathways in your brain and you say, brain, this is a new recipe, it's totally plant-based, you haven't had something like this before. And you allow yourself to just enjoy the dish for what it is. And it just happens to be vegan, rather than trying to be a meat dish as a vegan dish. Does that make sense? Guilt is a really powerful emotion for me. I haven't had that mental stress and that mental burden for this whole year, and I didn't realize how much subconscious guilt I was carrying around from all of the animal products that I was eating in my life. I have a much clearer conscience. That is a huge change for me, and I am really proud of the fact that I reduced my environmental impact from my food so drastically year over year. And so please let that be inspiration to you. You don't need to do it perfectly in order to feel good about it. You don't need to do it perfectly in order to notice changes in your life and the way that you feel. And the last major lesson that I have learned in this process is that following a vegan diet at home really shows you and teaches you the purpose of ingredients in a recipe. When you're cooking with animal-based products, they are really the star of the show most of the time. You know, it's a cheesy dish, it's a meaty dish. When you take those out, you lose a lot of that fat and that richness, and so you have to find other ways to put that in there. And prior to starting to cook vegan at home, I didn't think it was possible, honestly. I really was skeptical that vegan food could taste as delicious and yummy as animal-based recipes, and I was wrong. I was really wrong. You need to understand how an ingredient functions in a recipe in order to substitute it. Is it an acid? Is it a fat? Does it need more umami? Does it need sweetness? You really learn these things by cooking vegan recipes because you have to substitute so many things in and out. So let me give you an example. A lot of meat-based products have this kind of rich umami flavor. It's one of the kind of 5 flavors that we as humans can taste. A lot of people associate that umami taste with meat proteins. So to replicate that flavor in a vegan product, you have to learn what types of vegetables and what types of legumes can replicate that flavor. And in the case of this kind of umami meat substitution, mushrooms are a great option. Mushrooms have a great umami flavor as it is naturally, and then you can really enhance that by adding additional umami ingredients like tamari, which has absolutely become one of my favorite ingredients that I've learned about through this process of cooking vegan at home, because it adds such a depth of flavor and a richness of flavor to the food that you don't even necessarily notice that the meat isn't there, because what you really are getting from the meat is the sensation of eating it and the taste of the umami. And so in the process of taking out those ingredients, you learn what they are. As a foodie, I was so worried about compromising the flavor and the taste and the enjoyment of eating, because it's just one of my favorite hobbies, and that was a worry that is completely unfounded. I have had some of the most delicious, wonderful home-cooked meals that I've ever had in my life in this last year, and they have been vegan, and I feel so grateful that I gave myself the patience and time to just experiment and try and learn and see how this lifestyle change could really fit into my current life. Absolutely mind-opening, you know. It really shows you what a social construct our foods are, and what we tell ourselves about what kind of diet we have is learned. We've learned that, and you can teach yourself something different. You don't have to do it perfectly, just try. Just try it and see how it works for you. Okay, I rambled on way too long about the lessons that I took from this. Clearly I feel passionately about this topic and should probably just make different videos, more videos on this subject. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate your patience as I got to my points. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments if you are interested and inspired to try an at-home vegan diet for yourself. I would love to hear what other people think about it. So yeah, that's it. Let's close this up. Goodbye. Thank you.